Argentine Business Review, your daily source for the most critical stories in the financial world. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.
Meat exports from Argentina saw growth from January to April 2020 against the downward trend of the global food supply chains impacted by the ongoing pandemic. Though Argentina has issued a series of rigorous measures and restrictions since the epidemic outbreak in the country, as the number of confirmed cases continues to increase, the resumption of life and work has been disrupted, except for the meat processing industry. Given that agricultural and animal husbandry export is the country's pillar industry, the functioning of relevant processing factories is obviously vital to the economy. In a beef processing factory named Frimsa in the capital of Buenos Aires, workers are under strict restrictions and monitoring of their health conditions. Each piece of beef will receive 2 QR codes after cut and packaged, one to trace the factory's information, including the workers' details, and one to trace the quality of the product, including its ranch and breed. The total of Argentine beef exports reached $200 million in April 2020, up 1.2% year on year, while the average price dropped 14.2%, which means total shipments jumped 18% from a year earlier, with China taking 84%. As China's economy slowly gets back on track, it's obvious that the Chinese market plays an important role in boosting the world economy.
Mexico's economy has virtually ground to a halt and is bleeding jobs in the pandemic lockdown. But tens of thousands of workers at a flagship government airport have not skipped a beat, toiling around the clock north of Mexico City to keep it on schedule. When the government ordered non-essential activities to close and workers in those industries to stay home to stem the spread of the coronavirus, an exception was made for President Andrés Manuel López Obrador's priority infrastructure projects. Those include the $3.5 billion Felipe Angeles Airport being built on the Santa Lucia military base, an $8 billion refinery at the Gulf Coast port of Dos Bocas, and the so-called Maya train, a 1,470 kilometers rail line that will connect tourist hotspots from Chiapas State to the Yucatan Peninsula along the Caribbean coast. Firms producing steel, cement, and glass used by those projects were also allowed to continue operating. On June 1st, automotive, aerospace, mining, and construction companies were allowed to reopen. The project has created more than 26,000 jobs, according to Major Jose Juan Marin, construction engineer and spokesman for the Santa Lucia Army Corps of Engineers, which has nearly 1,000 of its ranks managing the project. On a cloudy day earlier this month, thousands of workers in orange high-visibility vests and hard hats, as well as newcomer to construction sites in times of pandemic, face masks were busy building offices, pitting up giant steel structures for the passenger terminal and smoothing out the surface of one of two 4.5-kilometer runways. Marine says there has not been a coronavirus outbreak due to the safety protocols put in place, including taking workers' temperature, the use of masks, and having half of office employees work remotely. López Obrador says the projects are as much needed boon to the economy and an important source of employment. Critiques counter that those resources would be better used tackling the coronavirus crisis and boosting the economy.
Lloyd's of London insurance market has apologized for its shameful role in the 18th and 19th century Atlantic slave trade and has agreed to fund charities and organizations promoting opportunities for Africans and ethnic minorities group. About 17 million African men, women, and children were torn from their homes and shackled into one of the world's most brutal globalized trades between the 15th and 19th centuries Many died in merciless conditions. Lloyd said it was sorry for the role played by Lloyd's market in the 18th century and 19th century slave trade, an appalling and shameful period of English history. It added recent events had shone a spotlight of the inequality that black people have experienced over many years, and as a result of the systematic and structural racism that has existed in many aspects of society. The world's leading commercial insurance market, Lloyd's, which started life in Edward Lloyd's Coffee House in 1688, is where complex insurance contracts, ranging from catastrophe to events cancellation, are agreed and underwritten. Lloyd's grew to dominate the shipping insurance market, a key element of Europe's global scramble for empire, treasure, and slaves, who were generally in the 18th century included in the insurance policies in the general rate for ship cargo. Lloyd said it would invest in programs to attract black and minority ethnic talent, review its organization's artifacts to ensure they were not racist, and provide financial support to charities and organizations, prompting opportunities for minority ethnic people.
Long queues of people snagged outside some stores in England, with discount fashion retailer Primark proving a big draw as non-essential shops reopened their doors after 83 days of lockdown. Queues formed outside several branches of Primark, which does not sell online, so has not taken a penny in the country for weeks. Outside Nike Town in London, hundreds of people rushed to get into the shop, with many people not observing social distancing. Department stores, clothing retailers, electrical outlets and bookshops have been closed since March 23rd, when Prime Minister Boris Johnson imposed a lockdown to limit the spread of the coronavirus. While outdoor markets and car showrooms reopened on June 1st, Monday is the big return to business for retailers, who are desperate to get the tills ringing again. The reopening only applies to England, with stores in Scotland and Wales waiting for guidance from their devolved administrations on when they can resume trading. Non-essential stores in Northern Ireland reopened on June 12th. Getting shoppers spending again is key to Britain's recovery, after official data showed the economy shrank by a quarter over March and April. China's automobile production and sales both posted double-digit growth in May, according to the latest data released by the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers. Production of automobiles reached 2.187 million units in May, up 18.2% year-on-year. Automobile sales reached 2.194 million in the month, up 14.5% year-on-year. Experts attributed the automobile market recovery to policies introduced by the central and regional governments to stabilize and expand automobile consumption. Dong Yang, former executive vice president of the association, said the recovery of manufacturing plants, logistics, and people's daily activities have all contributed to the sales growth of both passenger cars and commercial vehicles. The sales volume of passenger cars reached 1.609 million units in May, showing both month-on-month and year-on-year growth, up 12.6% and 1.8% respectively for the first time in 11 months. The commercial vehicle market also continued its strong performance in May, after sales of heavy-duty trucks increased by 550% year-on-year in the first 4 months of this year. Li Jian, vice president of Fortune Motor Group, said that one of the factors behind the growth of commercial vehicle sales is that the government has introduced measures to smooth major transport arteries and boost short-range circulation, which supported the strong growth of the logistics industry. The second factor is the continuous investment in infrastructure. Stable demand for commercial vehicles is also a good sign for the Chinese economy, according to Dong. He said that in the last year and the year before, the sales performance of commercial vehicles was better than that of passenger cars, noting that the demand for commercial vehicles remained stable when passenger car sales dropped during this period.
After Lufthansa promised Germans a homecoming guarantee, the airline's attempts to show it is ready to fly passengers again while respecting coronavirus restrictions. Frankfurt Airport and Lufthansa representatives offered media a tour of the airport to show off high-tech air filters, safety and hygiene measures in place for flight traffic to resume safely. Lufthansa, struggling financially as a result of the pandemic, said they were hoping for more international flights to resume, as this is an important revenue source for them. Both the airport and Lufthansa sought to reassure passengers that flying would be safe, as numbers are still well below usual summer traffic. Like the rest of the airline sector, Lufthansa has been hard hit by what is expected to be a protracted travel slump due to the pandemic. Lufthansa last week pledged a wide-ranging restructuring program, from thousands of job cuts to asset sales, as it seeks to repay a €9 billion state bailout and navigate deepening losses in the face of the pandemic.
This has been Business Review, your daily source for the most critical financial stories. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.